Bison loved Serena, and Serena loved Bison. He had a fantastic career, retired at a very young age with enough money for them to do whatever they wanted.
International fame attracts attention.
She felt she had met, the man of her dreams.
But attention can lead to resentment.
He was always jealous of his money and his fame.
Your closest peers become your greatest competition.
It's pretty hard to compete with somebody who's winning NBA championships.
He began to resent it because he often felt that that was supposed to be my life.
And escaping the spotlight ends in mortal danger.
She was scared of what would happen.
Do I see them arguing? Of course. Do I see or predict what happening? No way. Not in a million years do I see that. What happened on that boat, we will never know.
Bison Dele, he was very jovial, very lighthearted. He was a joy to sit down and just talk to. I think the highlight of his career was playing for the Chicago Bulls and for a great team. He was a good player, awesome.
People on the outside would say, oh, you have this amazing basketball contract and career. You're at the pinnacle of success, and it can only be up from here.
Yeah, but I know there was some tension.
Seems like it's still tough for you to recount.
It's been several years since this has occurred, and it's still hard to talk about.
Before he found fame and fortune on the court, Bison Dele, who was born Brian Williams in 1969, grew up in Fresno, California. One of two boys, Brian looked up to his older brother, Kevin.
Brian and Kevin were very close.
Their father was Gene Williams, who was part of the doo-wop, hip-hop duo, The Platters.
My Uncle Gene took them both on the road with him. They would tell us how they would experience the nightlife at a very young age.
But life on the road took a toll on their parents' marriage, and they eventually divorced.
So Kevin, being a big brother, wanting to protect his younger brother and be with him, they gravitated towards one another to be safe and endure it together. Because of his severe asthma, Kevin didn't really play sports because it was hard on him. So he gravitated to educating himself. Brian was more laid back.
Brian ended up topping out at 6'10". He became a superstar basketball player even in high school. He just was a natural. So we continue to see Brian's basketball career just blossom at the University of Arizona.
He was a power forward center, and he was a lefty. It was hard to block his shot, and he knew how to cut to the basket really good.
Following college, Brian is a top pick to NBA scouts.
Brian, to see him go the 10th pick in the NBA draft wasn't a surprise to me because Brian was a rare player.
Brian is drafted to the Orlando Magic. He comes in at a fantastic time during the franchise.
After playing for Orlando, Brian joins the Denver Nuggets and then the Los Angeles Clippers, before getting the opportunity of a lifetime with the Chicago Bulls.
He once again just joins another just amazing team, and they go on to win the 1996 NBA championship.
They won a championship. They sure did. And he was happy. And they would have kept him, but they didn't have enough money to pay him.
In 1997, Brian signs a 7-year, $45 million contract with the Detroit Pistons.
They had a solid run. They made it to the playoffs and whatnot, and did pretty decent, pretty well.
Despite his success, behind the scenes, Brian is experiencing something of an identity crisis.
For many years, he didn't like his name Brian Williams, and he wanted to change it, but he wanted to change it to something that he felt meaningful. He said it's Bison Dele, and he said Bison is the American Indian side. Dele, from what I was told, was maybe a tribe in Africa that would rather kill themselves than be called a slave.
That same year, Bison's manager introduces him to Serena Carlin.
They met in Santa Monica. The three of us went to a concert.
Serena was one of the most empathetic people I've ever met in my entire life.
I mean, she was physically stunning and her eyes were translucent. But what really captures you is that she was real.
When Bison meets Serena, they both feel a powerful connection.
They were both spitting with each other. When he was playing for Detroit, you know, she would come and see him.
After 2 seasons with the Pistons, Bison makes a life-changing decision.
Basketball truly was not the important thing. It wasn't his passion. He was glad that he had it, but he knew that he could do more.
Specifically, he leaves $35 million of that contract on the table, and it was a huge decision. I mean, it shocked his fans, it shocked the NBA.
Bison had just a sense of adventure and just wanted to experience as much as he possibly could. He started getting into flying, and he ultimately became a pilot. And he was DJing at a club in Dubai.
And eventually he settles on buying this catamaran called the Hakuna Matata. He's traveling through the South Pacific on his boat and living the life that he really has started to dream about.
At the end of 2001, Bison invites Serena Carlin to join him on his boat.
She decided to go, and she was excited to go. She felt she had met, you know, the man of her dreams, someone who was of like mind and heart and wanted to share life together.
Living life on a boat is, on one side, great. It's romantic. But on the flip side of that, it's very close quarters, very close proximity, and you start to see a lot about somebody, maybe parts of them that you weren't able to see before.
The things you used to hide from on land, the inadequacies, the mental health issues, you can't hide from out in the middle of the sea. There's nowhere to run.
In 2002, retired NBA star Bison Dele and his girlfriend, Serena Carlin, are on the adventure of a lifetime, sailing across the South Pacific Ocean.
He's having a ball out there sailing around with Serena. Perfect world.
We thought, wow, you know, like she met this great guy and he's successful and he's good looking and he loves her, you know? What more could you want?
But just a few weeks into the trip, Serena contacts a friend. She is concerned that Bison may be struggling with his mental health. A few years earlier, Bison Dele, aka Brian Williams, had walked away from a multi-million-dollar NBA contract.
I think Bison was kind of on the bipolar side. He'll be happy one day and sad the other.
So I think maybe with that pressure of making all this money, the expectations of playing at a high level could have got to him mentally, physically, and might have been too much for him.
He tried to what he would call a feeble attempt of suicide by overdosing on Tylenol. And that didn't work out well.
Bison survived the overdose, but there was a second incident.
He had wrecked the car. He had told me later on that, you know, he tried to see how far he can go with his life. He's not happy. He's not content. He thinks there's something else that is meant for him in this life besides basketball.
In the end, Bison turned his back on fame, seeking solace at sea with Serena.
And so with Bison, he lived a great life from outside looking in, but we don't know the turmoil that he actually went to bed with every night. The things you used to hide from on land, the inadequacies, the mental health issues, you can't hide from out in the middle of the sea. You have to confront them.
In May of 2002, the couple is surprised when an unexpected visitor appears at the marina where they're docked in New Zealand.
Brian told me that one day he was making his way back to the boat with Serena, and lo and behold, Miles was there, you know, at the dock.
That was his brother. I knew him first as Kevin Williams, and then afterwards as Miles DeBoer.
Kevin had a high IQ. He was very intelligent. Kevin was so bored with school and it was so easy for him. I'm pretty sure he took that exit exam and had to leave early, then just went on about his business.
I knew he was technically inclined with computers and things like that. He was some type of investor.
He really had a lot of these get-rich-quick schemes that just weren't panning out.
Bison did everything he could to help him.
So just like his brother, Kevin actually starts to go through his own sort of identity change. And so he actually ends up legally changing his name to Miles DeBoer.
Changing his name kind of made him feel like it was a new beginning for him.
So in May of 2002, he shows up, you know, where the Hakuna Matata is docked in New Zealand.
He didn't let them know that he was showing up. He just showed up.
He tells Bison he's here to reconnect. You know, he wants to spend some time with Bison. And, you know, not surprisingly, Bison's a little apprehensive about that.
It was like, it's such a romantic trip. You're alone on a beautiful boat in a beautiful, exotic place, having the most fabulous time of your life, and the brother shows up.
For Serena, you know, Miles showing up at the catamaran actually was a good thing. You know, she really thought that this was an opportunity for the brothers to reconnect, and so she was all for it.
The trio set sail together, bound for Tahiti.
The last email I received from her was when Miles had shown up. The energy was bad, that she didn't like it, that him being there, something had changed.
And for Serena, she's picking on vibes from Miles that she doesn't like. And so where she thought that she wanted this relationship to be rekindled, now she's feeling this may not work.
But their idyllic trip is about to take a sinister turn.
They're all confined in one tight space. Something was bound to happen.
Serena, throughout her life, she was always that friend who was counseling friends and family members about their relationships. So when she got into this most serious relationship of her life, I think she was so ready to handle whatever life threw at them. And she was able to take whatever Bison brought to the table emotionally and just help him through that.
In the summer of 2002, tensions are building aboard the catamaran of former NBA star Bison Dele. Bison and his girlfriend, Serena Carlin, have allowed Bison's brother, Miles DeBoard, to join them on their voyage to Tahiti.
Bison was becoming more and more upset because of Miles just being there, period, and just kind of overstaying his welcome.
Bison and Serena were trying to figure it out, that they thought maybe they would fly to Tahiti and spend a week together there and let Miles and the captain take the boat up to Tahiti and that they would meet them.
Bison and Serena fly the rest of the way to Tahiti. Serena tells her loved ones that she sees a huge change in Bison as soon as they're off the boat. You know, things go back to the way that they were. So, you know, Bison and Serena have a conversation about what to do with Miles. They come up with this compromise that Miles can, you know, stick with them this last leg of the trip. So they've got about 3 weeks to Hawaii. It's about 2,500 miles, but once they dock in Hawaii, they were going to ask Miles to leave the boat.
When Miles arrived in Tahiti, Bison informed him that he and Serena would be sailing on without him once they reached Hawaii. Just a few days later, the trio set sail.
Bison hires on Bertrand Saudo to captain them to Hawaii. Bison is communicating with his loved ones about how excited he is to get to Hawaii. Serena is actually in touch with a great friend of hers in Hawaii.
We had planned to meet them in Hawaii for my son's birthday. The intention was that they would get to Hawaii and then immediately they would send us a plane ticket and we would jump on a plane and come and meet them. So we were waiting for that call, which did not come.
The first week of August, Bison's friend and manager, Kevin Porter, receives a troubling phone call.
Serena's mom had called me and asked if I had talked to them, and I told her I hadn't talked to Serena maybe in a few weeks now. So she was concerned because she would always get a phone call on her birthday, and she never received one.
Kevin tries calling the satellite phone aboard the Hakuna Matata, but there's no response.
Kevin decides to take it a step further, and he actually reaches out to the Coast Guard to say, hey, something is wrong. We need to start looking for them.
The Coast Guard starts a search party.
They couldn't find the boat.
So maybe a month I started hearing, well, he hasn't surfaced yet, and what's going on with him, and what happened.
I don't know what else I could do except to call the bank and see if there was any activity whatsoever. And they asked me if Brian had made any investments in gold. And I said, no. Or is he in Phoenix? And I said, no. As far as I know, he's sailing between Papeete and Hawaii.
On August 22nd, 6 weeks after, he's last heard from Bison, a check was made out to Certified Mint, so it's a coin shop here in Phoenix, for almost $152,000.
And the banker said, well, there's a couple of phone numbers on the back of the check. And she read them to me, and I said, I don't know whose numbers these are. I called one of the numbers, and it said, hey, this is Bison, please leave a message. And I said, that's not Bison, that's Miles's voice.
Six weeks after his last contact with his close friend and business client, Bison Dele, Kevin Porter learns someone had written a check to buy $152,000 in gold bullion in Bison's name.
The banker gave me the numbers on the back of the check. I called one of the numbers, and I said, that's not Bison, that's Miles's voice. I told her to hold everything, just red flag everything until I can figure, what's going on.
Kevin immediately alerts the Phoenix Police Department of the potential fraud. He also calls Bison and Miles's mother, Patricia.
I worked at the Document Crimes Detail in the city of Phoenix. It was requested that I participate in an interview with Kevin Porter and Patricia. They flew out to Phoenix to speak to us about this case. You could definitely see the fear in the eyes of both Kevin and Patricia. They were very concerned. Neither Bison or Serena had ever done anything like this before, where communication essentially stopped. And you can see the worry that was in their eyes.
Kevin and Patricia recount hearing of the brothers' tension while at sea.
What Kevin explained to me is that Miles is always trying to concoct one of these get-rich-quick schemes, and they normally failed rather quickly. And then once he hit rock bottom, he would reach out to Brian to bail him out of the most recent financial blunder. Brian was basically done financing his projects. It was very clear from both Patricia and Kevin that they believed Miles was somehow involved in the disappearance of Bison Dele and Serena Carlin.
And so Phoenix PD reaches out to the coin shop and basically starts to verify, what time is this person supposedly coming in to collect these coins? And they set up a sting operation.
On September 5th, 2002, police are staked out when Miles DeBoard arrives at the shop.
He approaches the front counter, and the owner goes, "You must be Brian Williams." And he said, "Yes, I'm Brian Williams." At that point, we provided the 2 different invoices for the gold order. As soon as he signed those documents, we buzz him into the next room to obtain the gold. And when the door opened, there were several uniformed officers there waiting for him. So after he was placed in handcuffs, they asked for his identity, and he indicated he was Miles DeBoard. He was in possession of Bison Delay's passport and several of his credit cards. The fact that we had his passport, which was the only thing to get him back into this country, and all his money, it was a glaring red flag to me.
Miles is transported to the Phoenix Police Department for questioning.
I still had questions to ask him regarding the forgery and identity theft, but the biggest concern that we had was trying to find out where Bison Delay and Serena Carlin were.
Miles starts to tell this really far-fetched story that, to be honest, kind of sounds like it's out of a movie.
Miles said Bison and Serena were being held captive by pirates in French Polynesia.
And he needs to get ransom money to help free them, which is why he was trying to collect the gold coins.
I've done this job for 29 years, and I've heard a lot of outlandish stories. To date, that was probably the biggest curveball that I've ever heard in my career. It just didn't seem to make any sense.
They might not believe his story, but legally they cannot prove that anything, nefarious has transpired.
When we talked to the county attorney's office, they didn't think we had enough probable cause to book Miles into jail. And we were told by the county attorney that you had to release him. I just had a feeling that I'd never see him again. And I wanted to make sure we had his fingerprints and a recent photograph of him on the day that he was arrested. So I had him fingerprinted and photographed.
A week after Miles is interrogated by police, across the world, Tahitian authorities actually find the Hakuna Matata in a Tahitian port.
It was still in Tahiti and not Hawaii. There's no sign of the captain, there's no sign of Serena, and there's no sign of Bison.
The boat had been painted and the name had been changed. It seemed very suspicious.
The FBI gets involved and they fly out to Tahiti to start to assist with the investigation out there. FBI agents start to learn in their investigation that a man matching Miles's description actually piloted the boat back into the port back in July. Now that the FBI is starting to realize that Miles's story is most likely false.
At that point, we believe Bison, Serena, and Captain Bertrand are dead.
Authorities know they need to speak with Miles, but tracking him down again proves difficult.
It seems like he was trying to run from something.
He was a jealous sibling, a jealous brother. His issues just became worse and worse, evidently. I never imagined he could do such a thing.
Federal and state authorities are searching for Miles DeBoard in connection with the disappearance of his brother, Bison Delay. The same week authorities find Bison's boat, a key witness comes forward.
A detective from another jurisdiction reached out to me because she had received a phone call from Erica, who was Miles's girlfriend.
She claims that Miles had recently visited her in San Francisco.
What Erica told those investigators is that Miles approached her when he came to San Francisco and asked her to drive him down to the U.S.-Mexico border. Not a whole lot of information was discussed during that car trip until they arrived close to the border. At that point, Erica basically told him, "You got to tell me what's going on." And he told her that he killed Bison Daly. Miles said there was some sort of disagreement on the boat between Bison and Miles. That verbal argument turned physical. Serena tried to intervene in it, and according to Miles, Bison pushed Serena. Serena fell, struck her head on a rail, and killed her instantly.
So Miles says that Captain Saldo wanted to go back to port and report the death to authorities, but Bison is not okay with that plan. So he gets upset and he actually picks up a wrench and bludgeons the captain to death.
Miles told Erica that Bison was questioning his loyalty, whether or not he was going to divulge that he had killed Serena and the captain of the boat. And Miles was trying to tell him that he would be loyal. According to Miles, Bison didn't believe him and was picking up a wrench to strike him. And somehow, according to Miles, he retrieved a handgun that he brought onto the boat and shot Bison and killed him.
So in shock, Miles says that he just panics. So he actually attaches weights to each of the bodies and then throws them overboard.
From what Miles is telling Erica, I was in fear of my life. I just witnessed my brother kill 2 people, and I thought that I was next, and I shot him and killed him. That could be a defense. But then the reaction of it was to tie weights to the bodies and dispose of them. That's not what an innocent person does. That's not how an innocent person acts.
With Erica's story in hand, authorities double their efforts to track down Miles, who they now believe is in Mexico. In the meantime, authorities begin piecing together a motive.
Miles was always very jealous of Bison. He was always jealous of his money and his fame and things like that.
People envy people who are celebrities. They want to live their life.
Bison has fame, success, money. All of the things that Miles wishes that he was getting.
He went from job to job, place to place, and never could really find his grounding. But he resented his brother for that, because his brother was living the life that he was supposed to live as the older sibling.
A forensic team begins processing evidence collected from the alleged crime scene and discover only trace amounts of blood, casting even more doubt on Miles's self-defense narrative.
From what Miles has told, these were some very bloody deaths. A shooting, a head trauma, a bludgeoning. That's a lot of blood splatter. And the FBI just aren't finding that.
Based on the information that Erica told the detectives, it was clear that Miles didn't have permission from Brian to access his account, to be in possession of his passport. That gave me the probable cause to go to a grand jury and get a warrant for the arrest of Miles DeBoard. The FBI also had a federal warrant regarding the fraudulent scheme.
Unfortunately, the case soon hits a wall.
We received information that an unidentified African-American male was found unresponsive, completely nude on the beach in Tijuana. Officers went over to the hospital and conducted a fingerprint analysis. The fingerprints came back to an active warrant for Miles DeBoard. The FBI went to the hospital. They placed him into custody at that location.
He had an overdose of insulin that appeared to be self-administered.
It has left him completely comatose and unresponsive. May contact his next of kin.
Miles's mother tells the authorities that she had received a phone call from Miles that was suicidal in nature, explaining that this was all an accident.
I love you, Mom. I'm very sorry. And it's because I swear to God, I did say this.
Miles' condition continued to deteriorate to the point where it was becoming clear that he was never going to regain consciousness.
Bye.
To those who never got over Olive Garden's
Never would I see Kevin doing that or Brian doing that to one another or anyone else. They had way too much life to live. Brian had so much to live for, so did Kevin. So why would he do something so drastic to end the life that had so much potential? So I just want people to know that they loved each other dearly. And whatever happened on that boat was very bad for it to come to this.
More than 2 months after Bison Dele, Serena Carlin, and Captain Bertrand Saldo vanished at sea, the prime suspect, Bison's older brother, Miles DeBoard, is discovered on a beach in Tijuana, Mexico.
It appeared that he had lost function of his brain. So the family had to make the decision to remove him from life support. He was removed from life support on the 26th of September, and then he was ultimately declared dead a day later. It ended my investigation into the fraudulent scheme and the forgery and the identity theft. That was done because our main suspect was dead.
Authorities make the difficult decision to call off their search for the 3 missing victims.
All 4 people who had the answers to what happened to them are presumably dead.
As for what happened to Bison, Serena, and Bertrand Saldo, all their loved ones can do is speculate.
I don't think that there is any doubt that there was a fight, whether it was pre-planned or not, that I do not know.
I think Miles was at a point with his jealousy that it had engulfed him, where he's watching his brother live this life of luxury on this 55-foot catamaran, and he walked away from millions of dollars. The audacity, right? Here I am in need of some money, and you won't even give it to me.
Serena, she just did not like the way that Miles behaved and the anger that he expressed towards Bison. It was just extremely upsetting to her.
So what I think what happened is they got in a fight. I do think Serena got in the way and tried to break things up. But Miles went back to his room, got the revolver, had him at gunpoint. He told him to get in the water. And shot everyone. And then turned the boat around.
But what happened on that boat We will never know.
Bison loved Serena, and Serena loved Bison. He had a fantastic career, retired at a very young age with enough money for them to do whatever they wanted, and they were doing it. I mean, they were killed for it by someone who never earned it, never deserved any of the money, who felt like it was owed to him for whatever reason.
Of course, like any other siblings, you're going to argue, you're going to have disagreements. So do I see them arguing? Of course. Of course. Do I see or predict what happening? No way. Not in a million years do I see that.
Is there a final thought regarding Bison, Serena, just who they are, what they mean to you?
Yeah, just two souls gone way too soon. It's also a cautionary tale of siblings. I think that that's more the rule than the exception, the jealousy, the envy of siblings. You have to be cautious.
I can't bring Serena back. I can't bring Bison back. And it hurts.
Love offers a mirror that reflects our hopes for the future.
When you love somebody, you want to plan a life with them.
She said she loved him. She said that was all she knew.
Gazing into love's looking glass, the trauma and pain of the past can seem like it never happened at all.
He wasn't no good for her, but he was showing her love that she didn't have.
But that same reflection can enable choices we'd never have entertained if passion wasn't the driving force.
She threw the gun to him and told him to shoot her.
And jumped over the balcony in fear of her own life.
Like, wow, you did all this while you're pregnant? Like, really?
And before we know it, we're blinded by self-deception.
She finally got over him before he ended up coming back.
He was trying to get a threesome going on.
She went with that man so he could see his children, not to be some part of some freak fest.
June 23rd, 2021. In the quiet Las Vegas, Nevada neighborhood of Centennial Hills, the mercury hovers near 90 degrees well after sunset.
People think of Vegas as only a touring destination, gambling and shows and all that, but it's actually one of the fastest growing American cities and has been for years.
Over in Centennial Hill is kind of new, so it's not too many people that even really live there.
Around 10 p.m., Las Vegas Metro 911 receives a report of gunfire near the 8900 block of Jaquinta Avenue.
It's really calm over there. It's like, it's not really crime rate over there at all.
Then, a 911 operator gets a second call from inside the house, where a shooting has apparently just taken place.
A man's yelling and screaming about someone shot. He's holding a gun on someone. It's chaos.
But the man tells the operator that he's not the shooter.
He said his ex-wife shot his girlfriend. Now he's holding her off at gunpoint himself.
Like, hurry over here before she gets away or hurts our kids.
The 911 operator hears a woman screaming, "Please don't shoot me," in the background.
This is bad, really bad, and it sounds like it's about to get even worse.
The operator tells the man that police are on the way. Officers quickly arrive to find a panicked woman shouting from a second-floor balcony.
She says she's Shemaya Todd, and her husband, Christopher Mitchell, is inside with a gun.
He's in there with their kids, and there's been a shooting.
Who was shot? Is it you? Someone else? This is not lining up with the 911 call.
Anxious police have no choice but to regroup and wait for Shemaya Todd to make the next move. 28-year-old Shemaya Todd was born in Glendale, California in 1993.
Growing up, Shemaya was a good student. She worked hard and tried to get along with her family as best she could.
She loved pets, kept her Facebook and Instagram timelines flowing with posts about dogs and fashion.
In her teens, dating came easy, but commitment proved difficult.
The guys she knew at school seemed like children to her. If she was going to be with someone, it needed to be someone with experience.
That all changed when Christopher Mitchell came into her life.
She met him when she was in junior high, and he used to come and pick her up before she go to school.
At the time, she was 15 and he was 26.
The age gap between Shamaya and her record producer boyfriend was not an issue between them. In fact, it added to their excitement.
She just said she loved him, and that was all she knew.
Within a few years, Shamaya and Christopher left California for Las Vegas.
By then, they started having kids. A little girl in 2013, then another in 2015, and a third in 2018.
They moved out here together, and they've been together ever since.
But now, Shamaya Todd clings to a balcony railing outside a house with an armed man, an injured woman, and her own 3 children inside.
Police have no idea what's going on here. They just know that this woman's telling them that there's been a shooting and that there's kids in the mix.
Then, as arriving police look on, Shamaya lets go.
This girl jumped out the window to the police.
Las Vegas Metro Police have the makings of a hostage crisis on their hands. A 911 call has brought them face to face with Shamaya Todd, who just leaped from a second-story balcony onto the ground below. Police quickly take her into custody.
Oh, she could have died jumping out that 2-story window because I looked at the apartment. I drove over there.
Shamaya tells police that her ex-husband, Christopher Mitchell, is inside with a gun, along with their 3 children and a young woman who's been shot.
But the 911 call, which brought the police in the first place, was from Christopher Mitchell himself. And he told the 911 operator that his ex had shot his girlfriend.
The woman who jumped from the balcony, Shamaya Todd, told the police that Christopher Mitchell was the one who shot a woman inside.
More than 40 officers arrive, surrounding the building and taking up positions at the exits.
It was a situation where they didn't break down the door because there were children in the house.
From inside the house, Mitchell calls 911 again.
The 911 dispatcher patches Mitchell into the police outside. He tells the police that the kids are okay and he's ready to come out, but he wants reassurance that he won't be shot.
The priority here for the police is to make sure those children ages 3, 6, and 8 are safe, and to get medical help for whoever else was inside and hurt.
Finally, Mitchell comes out a side door with his and Shamaya's 3 children. The kids are fine, and Christopher Mitchell is completely cooperative. He seems pretty undone by whatever went on inside. Police swiftly turn the kids over to Child Services. Both Christopher Mitchell and Shamaya Todd are swabbed for gunshot residue. With them in custody and children safe, the only thing left is to enter the home. Police attempt to enter the front door but find it blocked. Once they're inside via the side door, they discover why.
There's a young woman lying against the door, dead. Looks like she's been shot twice, one in the head and one in the temple.
An ID check tells the cops that she's 18-year-old Shania James.
From the very start, Shania James had an independent spirit.
She was born May 8th, 2003 in Fairfield, California. She used to pick out her clothes from a toddler age. You know, she had this just thing for colors, and everything matched. But Shania was very outgoing, and she was funny. She laughed, constantly smiled. She just had a beautiful smile.
She was sweet. She'd do anything, but she liked things her way.
She was wonderful. And her relationship with her father shaped who she became, who she was. You know, her father was in a wheelchair by the time Shania was 1 year old. He was a Marine who suffered from severe multiple sclerosis, and Shania was his caregiver since she was able to be his caregiver. So she had a heart of gold.
Easing her father's hardship became Shania's inspiration.
She loved her dad. That was her everything. Her dad getting sick definitely made her step up, and because she felt like she needed to take care of him.
When her father died, Shania was devastated.
Her world changed. Her world was different. It wasn't as she knew, because she spent so much time taking care of him, and now that he wasn't there, it was just different for her. It caused a big hole in her, and I know it.
In search of a fresh start, Shania's family relocated.
We moved to Louisiana. So Louisiana was a whole nother ball game for Shania, and she totally did not like it. She didn't want to be in the country. There was no mall for her to go to. There was no theater for her to go to. Things that the teenagers like to do. It wasn't for her.
Part of Shania's family had made Las Vegas their home.
Shania wanted to come to Las Vegas and complete her schooling. And for the first time, her and I got into a big argument. First time.
Shania won. Once she was in Vegas, Shania made a side trip back to her native California. And that's when everything changed.
She was living with my sister in Adelanto when she met Christopher. I believe on social media, she met Christopher.
Music producer Christopher Mitchell had a maturity and generosity that mirrored the original #1 man in her life.
She had told me that she was dating, that he was a real nice guy. And
yeah, he was older, but being with an older man helped her to come to terms with losing her dad.
She was just searching for that love that she lost.
To Shania, Christopher represented both a way to heal her past and fulfill her dreams.
He's gonna make my life better. It's gonna be me and him. Everything is gonna be good. Then eventually we'll get married. When you love somebody, you want to plan a life with them.
But now, Shania James is dead from 2 gunshot wounds, and police are trying to determine if Christopher Mitchell or another woman named Shamaya Todd had something to do with her tragic death.
Cops take Shamaya Todd and Christopher Mitchell into custody.
Arriving homicide detectives discover spent cartridge casings on the ground floor and a pair of guns, one 9mm and one .40 caliber, in an upstairs bedroom.
There is a blood trail going down the stairwell from the 2nd floor to the 1st, and a pool of blood where she was found against the door. It looks as if Shania James was shot once on her way down the stairs, and then again before she could open the door.
Was she trying to escape? Was she being chased?
Shania James's body is transported to the county medical examiner for a full autopsy, and detectives turn the scene over to Las Vegas Metro CSI.
Detectives need to talk to the first 911 caller, the neighbor who heard the shots from down the street.
The 911 caller says they heard the shots, but didn't see anything.
The neighbor shares with police that what they knew of Shamaya Todd and Christopher Mitchell was that they lived in California, the 2 of them had a past, and the children were theirs.
Christopher Mitchell wasn't around a lot, but when he was, there was a lot of drama.
In the meantime, police notify Shania James's family.
That was the beginning of me drowning in pain. I couldn't understand none of it. And I had to get from Louisiana to Las Vegas.
My mom came, my brother came, my sister came, my kids came, my younger kids.
Shania's heartbroken friends and family tell police that they've been worried about Shania for weeks. And they claim her relationship with her new boyfriend, Christopher Mitchell, is the reason why they're concerned.
This man is not right, not a good person at all.
All I saw was a monster.
18-year-old Shania James has been shot and killed in the home of her boyfriend's ex-wife.
Christopher Mitchell told 911 that his ex, Shemaiah Todd, shot his new girlfriend, Shania James.
But Shemaiah Todd was running to police officers when they arrived on the scene and behaved like Christopher Mitchell pulled the trigger, and not her. Members of Shania James's heartbroken family tell investigators that in the weeks leading up to the shooting, Shania had changed.
She wasn't answering her texts, he wasn't answering her call, and Shania stays in that phone. So I knew that something was wrong. My sister would call me, like, Shania's not coming home. She was spending a lot of time with the man, Christopher.
Where did this guy come from? You know what I'm saying? Who is he?
The family tells police that social media glimpses of Shania's new life with Christopher Mitchell were deeply concerning.
He just looks like a grimy dude. He looks like he's not a good person. He looked like he didn't have no good intentions. He looked like a creep.
It looks like partying, a lot of guys and girls maybe smoking and just partying, and the guns, and seeing my daughter holding one next to him, it was very shocking.
It just looked like as if she was growing up way too quickly at that time. And it wasn't even that long.
That wasn't the life that she heard all of her years being with her father. That was opposite. It was opposite.
Finally, Shania James reached out.
She just called me one day and she told me, she was like, I'm tired of this. Like, I'm just trying to be a good girlfriend, and he just keeps talking to her, and I don't understand why. I was like, talking to who?
Christopher Mitchell is supposedly planning a future with Shania James in California, but he's constantly texting and DMing with Shemaiah Todd, the mother of his 3 children in Las Vegas.
He keep flirting with her and everything, and I keep asking him, just let me see the phone. And he's getting angry, and he's getting upset with me, and he's yelling at me, and we're going back and forth, and I was like, just leave. It's not worth it, just leave.
Instead of striking out on her own, Shania James and Christopher Mitchell took a road trip together.
That was 2 or 3 weeks before she came to Vegas with him.
I didn't know that Shania was picked up from San Bernardino and brought to Las Vegas. I understand that Shania didn't share a lot of that with me because I'm on my way. I'm catching a flight, I'm coming, I'm bringing you home. And she didn't want that.
But why return to Vegas, the same city where your boyfriend's ex lives, when you were already jealous of her and angry with him for talking to her all the time?
Police hope that Shania's autopsy will shed more light on exactly what happened that night. But instead, it just confirms what they already assume.
Detectives said that she was found on the stairs, face down, shot in the back of the head. All I was told was that my niece, Shania, was running and she was shot in the back.
According to the coroner, the shot in the back of her head took her instantly.
In a Las Vegas Metro homicide interview room, detectives Mirandize Shemaiah Todd. Shemaiah Todd tells police that she and Christopher Mitchell have lived apart for months. In fact, there had been problems between them for years. Shemaiah Todd says that when she and Christopher Mitchell began dating, the same bad boy qualities that drew her to him were red flags for her family. Shemaiah claims that what felt like love at the time now seemed like manipulation.
Took her away from her old family and said none of them loved her and had her thinking, that he was the only one for her, basically.
Shemaiah alleges that her relationship with Christopher also had a dark side.
And she said that he used to beat her too. The mom called the police on him a few times and she kept going back.
That cycle of abuse is hard to stop. And having 3 kids that idolize their dad makes it even harder to make a clean break over time.
Jemiah tells detectives that she had stayed in touch with Christopher Mitchell for the sake of their kids.
She was over him at that time, but the kids wanted him home for Father's Day. And she said that the only reason why he came back there is because she allowed it, because the kids wanted to see the daddy.
Jemiah says that Christopher agreed to a visit on one condition. He wanted to bring along his new girlfriend, Shania James.
That's when the real trouble begins.
Detectives investigating the murder of 18-year-old Shania James have 28-year-old Shemaiah Todd in custody.
Shemaiah Todd's ex claimed that Shemaiah killed his new girlfriend, Shania James, during a Father's Day visit with his children.
As detectives listen and take notes, Shemaiah Todd explains that simply was not the case.
Shemaiah Todd wasn't thrilled about her man's new girlfriend tagging along with Christopher on his Father's Day visit.
Shania loves children. And if she's with someone who says, hey, I want to see my children for Father's Day, I don't have a problem with going with you if it's okay with the children's mother.
Shemaiah claims that when the two women met face to face, it was initially awkward.
It was clear to Shemaiah Todd that Christopher had found someone way younger than her. And Shania James, she was already suspicious of her boyfriend's ex.
Shemaiah tells police that over the course of the next 2 days, the two women bonded.
So the story from Shemaiah Todd is that her and Shania had been frequent the nail shop together. They got along. They were fine.
But Shemaiah alleges that wasn't the case between her and her ex, Christopher.
She said they had been arguing for the whole 3 days.
All of the old tensions between Christopher and Shemaiah came right back the minute they were under the same roof.
Shemaiah claims that her only comfort was that even though she and Christopher were unable to communicate, she was able to confide in her ex's teenage girlfriend.
They had things in common where Christopher was concerned, and it wasn't anything positive.
Samaya took Shania to go get her nails done, and they had a little powwow, and the conversation was he was abusive, and, you know, he had her since she was 15.
Shemaiah alleges that her growing closeness with Shania only made Christopher insecure.
I can see him getting aggravated with these two women growing a friendship in amongst this situation. And seeing Shemaiah Todd and Shania James getting along was not something that he liked at all.
By the 3rd day, her ex-husband's new girlfriend was done.
Shania was packing her stuff because I guess Shania was gonna leave that night. And she said that's when things really got heated with them.
Shemaiah claims that's when Christopher realized his girlfriend was leaving without him. He allegedly became threatening.
He going upstairs, come back down, you know. He was mad.
Christopher took Shania's phone. She couldn't even reach out to call her Vegas family or call an Uber.
He didn't allow her to make any calls.
Shemaiah tells police that at that point, she'd had enough too.
She could see that they were upset, but she didn't feel good, so she went upstairs to lay down, and that's what everything was supposed to happen.
She said she was asleep. She said she heard the loud pop. The daughter came in there and said, I think Daddy shot Shania.
Shemaiah says she realized she had nowhere to go.
She said she got up out the bed and looked over the balcony and seen her and started screaming. She said she thought she was gonna die too.
She's 100% thinking she's getting shot next. And what about her kids?
Why, detectives ask, was Christopher the one that called 911?
Said she was gonna call the police. She said he took her phone and threw it.
Shemaiah claims that's when Christopher pointed the gun at her and dialed his phone.
He called 911, and my baby mama just killed my girlfriend, and he was screaming in the phone.
Shemaiah Todd had supposedly, according to her, wrestled with him over the gun.
And she said when the police came, she was able to get away, and she went up into one of the rooms that had a balcony.
She jumped over the balcony in fear of her own life.
She hopped out the balcony window to the police. She told them that it's a girl in there that's shot already.
But detectives are skeptical of Shamaya's story.
You mean he held you at gunpoint and put an act on for 911?
But Shamaya says that's exactly what happened. And she alleges that Christopher Mitchell has done it before.
When they were still together, he hit her during an argument, and Shamaya called 911 to get police protection.
But she says that while the police were coming, Christopher actually hit himself on purpose. Hard enough to cut himself and leave a bruise.
Shamaya says that at the time, responding police saw Mitchell's wound and assumed it was a case of he said, she said, and that both sides were at fault.
According to Shamaya, the police turned around and left. This isn't domestic abuse. You two need to solve your own problems.
And Shamaya claims that while Christopher was in police custody at the scene, he had kept his act going. But was Shamaya telling the truth? Or was she spinning an allure of who shot and killed 18-year-old Shania James, and why? In an adjoining interview room, police now question Christopher Mitchell.
Christopher Mitchell told police it was his idea to visit his children for Father's Day, not Shamaya Todd.
But after 3 days of nonstop arguments with Shamaya Todd, he'd had enough.
Me and her ended up getting into an argument. We're arguing, and eventually I'm just like, I don't want to deal with this. I'm gonna go upstairs and I'm gonna take a shower. Goes upstairs, he takes a shower.
Christopher says while he was in the shower, his ex-wife went after his girlfriend.
He didn't get out the shower until he heard the gunshot.
And then he says he puts a towel on, runs down the stairs. The baby mom's running up the stairs. And she says that she throws the gun to him and tells him to shoot her.
Gun in hand, Christopher Mitchell dials for help.
He's on the phone with him, and he has the gun pointed at her.
When asked what it was that set Shamaya off, Christopher Mitchell admits to police that in a way, he was to blame.
He's telling police that he was trying to get both Shamaya and Shania in a poly type of relationship.
He was trying to get a threesome going on.
He wanted Shania and Shamaya to be into sharing him with each other, like some fantasy three-way scenario, a friends with benefits situation between them.
Christopher claims that instead of seeing polyamory as an opportunity, his ex-wife saw it as a threat, one that she was going to eliminate no matter what.
He's saying that what set off his ex-wife was trying to persuade her to agree to a poly relationship between the three of them.
He was telling the police it was a love triangle and one got heated and killed the other.
Now police take seats opposite Shamaya Todd for another round of questions, beginning with Christopher Mitchell's claim that she went ballistic over his desire to share them both. Shamaya Todd tells them the idea is pure fiction.
Shamaya Todd at that time was pregnant by someone else. She was in a relationship with someone else. It was not a love triangle.
Despite the flirty texts and all that, Shamaya Todd had really moved on. She was with somebody new. It was gonna have his baby.
Interviews with Shamaya Todd and Christopher Mitchell's 3 children add little clarity.
All 3 kids saw Christopher Mitchell holding a gun on their mom and grabbing her by the neck, but not one of them said they saw the actual shooting.
The oldest one was positive that her mom shot Daddy's girlfriend, so much so that she corrected the other 2.
The oldest one was real sure of herself and what she saw. The others, not so much.
The following day, local media focuses in on one particular aspect of the case.
The guy baby mama killed the girlfriend in a love triangle situation. That's what the news clipping was saying it was. A love triangle.
For those who knew Shania James, the idea was ridiculous.
Shania went with that man so he could see his children, not to be some part of some freak fest. That was not Shania. And she had no interest in a woman whatsoever.
Both Christopher Mitchell and Shamaya Todd were swabbed for DNA and gunshot residue at the time of their arrest. Now the results have come back.
DNA swabs did not reveal anything, but Shamaya Todd tested positive for GSR, and Christopher Mitchell did not.
They pretty much said that she pulled the trigger because the gun residue was on her hands.
To investigators, this confirms Shamaya Todd shot her much younger rival in a deadly crime of passion. When police confront her with the irrefutable physical evidence, Shamaya still won't budge.
She said the only wrong she felt like she did was loving him so much and wanting him to be with her children on Father's Day, because I think this happened like a couple of days after Father's Day.
In Shamaya's mind, her biggest mistake was allowing Christopher Mitchell back into her life.
She had gotten over Christopher. She moved on and even was gonna have her new man's baby, but her kids needed their dad.
And coming to visit for Father's Day seemed like an easy way for Christopher to step up. But he made a mess of it, like he made a mess of their marriage.
Shamaya had put in the work. She'd healed and moved on. But she didn't count on how toxic her relationship still was with her kid's dad.
When police confront her with gunshot residue test results, Shamaya has an explanation.
Shamaya Todd says that she had gunshot residue on her because she was tussling. When she got up, out of bed after she heard the gunshot, she saw him with the gun and she was tussling with him for the gun.
Shamaya also tries to explain why she thinks Christopher Mitchell didn't have any gunshot residue on his hands.
If you adjust the timeline so that he takes a shower while the police are outside, it might explain why there wasn't any gunshot residue found on him.
But Las Vegas police aren't buying it. The Clark County DA charges Shamaya Todd with murder. 21, Las Vegas, Nevada. 28-year-old Shamaya Todd is charged with the murder of her ex-husband's girlfriend, 18-year-old Shania James.
All through the trial run-up, the hearings and filings, Shamaya says she's innocent. She says she's being scapegoated by her children's father.
She told the police that Christopher Mitchell killed Shania and put on an act for 911 and covered his tracks while police waited for him to surrender.
But at the 11th hour, the Clark County, Nevada's DA's office makes a surprise announcement. They've struck a deal with Shania James's accused killer.
Shamaya Todd agrees to plead guilty to voluntary manslaughter instead of the murder rap that she was going to face if her case went to trial.
Nevada state law defines voluntary manslaughter as killing someone in the heat of passion with no premeditation. Yes, you killed someone, but not in the heat of the moment in a deliberate and calculated way.
Shamaya Todd's motivation for taking the plea was crystal clear.
Shamaya was pregnant by another man when it all happened, and she had her baby during the hearing and COVID delays leading up to trial.
Her fear was not being able to see her baby again.
I didn't know she was pregnant at first. Like, wow, you did all this while you're pregnant? Like, really?
She like, I'm just scared. I don't want to be in prison for the rest of my life for this, and I didn't do it. So if I could take something lighter, I'm gonna have to do that.
With no reason to hold him, Christopher Mitchell is released after he's questioned. He is never charged of any crime in connection with Shania James's shooting.
He was released and never charged with anything.
At her sentencing hearing, Shamaya Todd finally faces a community of loved ones still reeling from loss. She also faces a potential 10-year prison term.
I asked the judge to give her the maximum time under the plea deal that she can possibly give. I did that statement, and I walked out of the courtroom and just released this loud cry, but it felt like I had lost a good 50 pounds.
Then, Shamaya Todd addresses the court on her own behalf.
She turns to me and she started talking.
Shamaya needed to take responsibility, while at the same time persuade the judge to hold her prison term to the minimum.
And here it is on your sentencing. You want to start boo-hooing and crying to the judge? It took everything in my might not to jump over those benches over to where she was at and get her.
On October 22, 2022, Shamaya begins a 36 to 96-month sentence at McClure Women's Correctional Center.
I don't think the sentence she got was good enough for anything because she deserves life.
Giving her 3 years, that ain't nothing.
I can say in the beginning, of course, I wanted more time for Shamaya. But being that I've been able to get back and talk to God, I have some, I feel bad for her a little bit too.
By the terms of her plea deal, Shamaya Todd could be paroled as early as 2025.
August 25, she's eligible for parole. You're gonna see me at every parole hearing she has. I'm gonna make sure she doesn't get out. She doesn't get to deserve to go see her kids and be with her family. I'm not gonna allow it.
Now, the people whose lives Shania James touched during her all too brief life must learn to live in a world without her.
Families that go through this, you would never think it would be your own, ever.
I appreciate every bit of her she gave me. And to this day, I think she is the most beautiful person, soul, heart I've ever met in my entire life. And I wouldn't trade any moment that we spent together for anything. I would tell her that, I tell her every day. I'm sorry. I be texting her still. I text her Instagram every day. I text her when I need to talk. I text her when I need to do anything. Or when I just feel like I'm lost, I text her. I still tell her to this day, you're my best friend. And I love you with all my heart.
I wish I never let her go, leave Louisiana.
Why?
Because I don't have my baby anymore. I let one go, and I lost her.
With closure seemingly out of reach, Shania's loved ones take some small comfort in heartbreaking lessons learned.
Love your children. Your girls be all up in their business. Smother them. I don't care how much they push back. Smother them. Because when you lose them, can't get them back. There's no do-overs.
Always conversate and try to understand. I know it's not always easy and it's not always the thing people want to do, especially when it's down to the nitty-gritty and emotions and stuff, especially in this time and age.
I'm telling you right now, you young girls, first of all, date somebody your age. First and foremost. Don't be in a hurry to grow up. Don't be in a hurry to be a grown woman, because trust me, it's a lot of work.
The memory of a young woman whose strength and spirit impacted everyone the way that Shania James did simply cannot die.
Shania should be remembered as a beautiful Black queen who wanted so much out of life, who wanted to be so many things.
Oh my God, I'd be so proud of her. I'm proud of everything she do. I'm proud of, it's my friend. I really love that girl. Not loved. I'll never say loved. It don't stop.
Reconnecting with a first love can make for a thrilling and magical reunion.
Sometimes you hold on to your first loves. It's hard to let go.
But sometimes the magic starts to fall apart at the seams.
You don't always see a red flag. Some people you think you may know, you may not know.
And what you thought was a twosome turns out to be a love triangle.
He said they used to date at one time, but it had been over.
You were running between two women. You were playing with both of them.
I just think he's a liar. But it ain't nothing that I ain't told him.
The lies and deception can be enough to drive someone crazy.
No man is worth it. Walk away. Leave.
But crazy enough to kill?
That doesn't seem like you were crazy. That's calculated. No man is worth sitting behind bars.
January 1st, 2017, Buffalo, New York. The sun dawns on a new day and a new year.
Buffalo is on the Great Lakes, Lake Erie, and very close, within 20 miles to Niagara Falls, which is one of the wonders of the world.
Buffalo's a beautiful community with very caring people. Unfortunately, it's a very segregated city. East Side is Buffalo's African-American central hub. It's a resilient community. It's a community that, especially in the last few years, has been through quite a lot.
Shortly after 10 a.m., a 911 call comes into the Buffalo Police Department after shots ring out on the east side of Buffalo. When officers respond, they find a woman on the front porch of the home, lying face down in a pool of her own blood.
She had apparently been shot multiple times.
Police check for signs of life, but it quickly becomes apparent the victim is dead.
Other police officers are en route to the scene, and they see a man kind of hobbling on crutches down the street in the opposite direction of the house where the victim was shot.
Finding this suspicious, the officers jump out of their vehicle and stop him.
The man says his name is Wilbur Livingston, and he's the one who called 911.
When police ask Wilbur where he's headed, he tells them that he was trying to get to the fire station down the street, in hopes he might be able to get an ambulance faster there.
That is when Wilbur explains to the officer that he lives at the home where the victim was found.
Police officers are wary of Wilbur and his story, so they put him in the back seat of the police car and take him to the scene of the crime.
I was off duty on New Year's Eve and not scheduled for New Year's Day, so I was called via the radio and asked if I was available to investigate a shooting that had happened at 250 Gold Street within the city. When I arrived, there were several police officers and crime scene tape around the crime scene. From the driveway across to the next house, there was a rear entrance into a hallway, and observing the front porch, there was a body in the doorway that was covered. She was head first leading into the house. Her feet were on the porch. The rest of the body from the waist forward was in a small area that led eventually into the living room. Half of her was in that hallway leading in, and half of her was out onto the porch from the waist out. My general rule of thumb is just to observe the scene.
Police find multiple shell casings around the body, but the weapon is nowhere in sight. Detectives do note something that could potentially be helpful to them.
One of the first things I noted was in the driveway of the house, there were visible video cameras on the house.
Video cameras at a murder crime scene are gold, and there was more than just one.
Two on the top at the front of the house, one pointing toward the street and the second one pointing down the driveway. And then as I continued to walk into the driveway, I noticed a third one above the rear entrance, right in the corner, that was pointing toward the door where the body was.
This could be potentially huge for Buffalo police, especially if the cameras are operational and actually capture something. So they're gonna wanna find that out right away.
When the officers who picked up Wilbur Livingston on the street arrive, they inform homicide detectives what he has told them so far. Initially, Wilbur is cooperative and explains there was a party at his home the night before.
He says that it was a birthday party for a childhood friend that happened to fall on New Year's Eve. And some of the partygoers had either spent the night or come back the following morning. But there were still a number of people still at the home.
Wilbur also tells detectives that he knows the murder victim. She was his girlfriend.
Wilbur indicated that the woman who'd been shot was Shayna Mason.
Buffalo resident Shayna Mason was a 30-year-old mother of 3, 2 daughters ages 11 and 7, and a 4-year-old son.
She was a good mother. They would always be baking something and doing things, and always they would go to the little beach around their neighborhood because they all could swim, so they liked swimming.
From the time Shayna was a child herself, she had a bubbly energy and independent spirit.
She always wanted to go out and do things on her, and if we was in the mall, and you try to keep your eye on her, and then she eventually try to slip away from her. I said, "Where are you going?" "I'm checking out all the scenery." I really never had no problems with her. We had one little incident, and I just said, there's a line right here, and on this side is the adult, on this side is the child. So if you step over this line, my job is to put you back over there. So decide which way you want to go. And she said, "I'll stay on this side."
As a child, Shayna made friends easily and earned their lifelong loyalty.
We used to call each other cousins. Normal thing to do. When you develop a close relationship, you're no longer friends, you become family.
She was just loyal, sweet. That was literally my sister. That was my sister.
She was a loving person. She was very family orientated, respectful, bubbly. She was just very positive.
She was a little shorty, a little cheerful thing. Very quiet, but she was a quiet, outspoken person, if that makes sense. I would describe her as like a big personality that stayed out of the way. She was a private person. She has a lot of friends. Good to people. I've never heard anybody say a bad thing about her. She's very loving, very giving, but she's definitely private.
Shayna was a good student, and she had dreams of being a nurse. But her plans got sidetracked during her senior year of high school.
She got pregnant. I know we have these stories where in high school, like, "Oh my God, I'm pregnant." It wasn't like that. She was very, very excited to be a mom.
In 2006, Shayna gave birth to a baby girl. Despite being a new mom, she was determined to graduate from high school and earn her diploma.
She homeschooled, but she said, "I'm gonna walk across that stage." Even though she had that baby, she walked across that stage.
I was very proud of her because, a lot of people, they don't do that. So, but she did it. And every chance I got, I would let her know, like, I'm proud of you. She's like, "For real?" "Yeah."
4 years later, Shayna gave birth to another daughter. And 3 years later, she had a son.
You would think that she was older. She was very adult-like. She's like, "No, I gotta get back in the house. I'm a mother. I gotta do this, I gotta do that." It was always about her children. Everything she did was for her children.
Taking care of people was in Shayna's DNA. She supported her kids by working as a certified nursing assistant at a nursing home in Amherst, New York.
One of the residents wrote me a beautiful letter about how when they first came to the nursing home, the lady said her husband had a hard time adjusting, being in the nursing home because he wanted to go home. And then after he met Shayna, he said, "You know what, I think I'm gonna stay here." And he told his wife, "You go home." So, she made him feel welcome.
Although she was romantically involved with her children's 2 fathers, the relationships were not meant to be.
Well, I didn't necessarily care for either of them. Yeah, first one just wasn't a good
respectful person.
Shayna's friends say she was supportive of her men, to a fault.
She was one of those girlfriends, that was gonna stick by his side and things like that. And she loved him.
Friends say the situation didn't get better with Shayna's children's second father.
The second one, it was the heirs. They put on heirs, but they're not really who they portray themselves to be. Well, he wasn't. And it was another thing. Like, she loved him. He was okay, but you can just tell it's not, like, always a healthy situation. I think guys she dated, they're just not honest and truthful.
Now, Shayna has been identified as the victim of a shooting outside of a home in the 200 block of Gold Street in Buffalo, New York. Detectives are questioning the partygoers who were there when Shayna was shot.
The number one thing that they want to know is, what did you see and what do you know?
But since everyone else was indoors when the shooting happened, no one seems to have seen anything. As police continue looking for evidence, the medical examiner arrives on the scene.
We generally do not touch the bodies at a crime scene without the presence of the medical examiner. And I waited until the medical examiner came to inspect the body. But once the covering was removed, it seemed obvious that the victim had been shot in the head and face area and in the back due to evidence on their clothing.
But who killed Shayna and why? Hoping to get some answers, they turned to her family and friends.
So the one person that police officers want to talk to, Shayna's boyfriend, Wilbur. They feel like he knows more than he's telling them.
January 1st, 2017, Buffalo police respond to a 911 call after 30-year-old mother of three, Shayna Mason, was gunned down outside of a home on the east side of town. A subsequent autopsy confirms the cause and manner of the young woman's death.
She obviously had suffered multiple gunshot wounds to the head area, face area, and back.
What's clear to investigators is that this was no accident. Someone specifically targeted Shayna and wanted her dead. But why? Hoping to get some answers, they turned to her family and friends.
Homicide detectives will tell you that one of the hardest parts of their job is having to inform the family members of murder victims about their death.
It's an essential part of their job to not only inform them, but also to find out if they have any information involved in the case.
Detectives learned Shayna lived with her mother, Pauline Mason, who had been helping her raise her three kids. When they go to Pauline's home to deliver the tragic news about her daughter, she is devastated.
That was my only child, so there's no other child for me. And she left at 30.
Shanna's mom tells police officers that she doesn't know anyone who would have beef with her daughter. She has no idea who would want to hurt her daughter like this.
Pauline tells police that Shayna had been working as a nursing assistant at a nursing home in Amherst, New York. She says, according to Shayna's co-workers, she was on her break at the time of the shooting.
Apparently, Shayna had been at a party at 250 Gold Street the night before, on New Year's Eve. She left the party to go home at some point, but she left her phone there.
The phone was downstairs. She left it there charging from the party.
I guess she just went back to get her phone the next morning.
By now, police have learned the party was at the home of Shayna's boyfriend, Wilbur Livingston.
Wilbur Livingston and Shayna Mason had known each other for a long time. They grew up together on the same block and dated off and on since they were teenagers.
We met Wilbur at 12, and he lived on the street with his mother and dad.
His dad, I think, lived a couple houses down from where they lived at. And I just knew him from her.
That's how I met Wilbur. They all became friends, so they all hung together. Wilbur, Sherry, Portia, all of them.
When Shayna and I were like 8th and 9th grade, she started talking to him. I did my first double date with her and his stepbrother at Darien Lake.
According to Wilbur, it was just puppy love, and they didn't get serious until they were adults. He moved away for a while, and then he moved back when he was around 21, and that's when things got serious between the two of them.
He'd go away for a while, come back, and it was like they were back like nothing changed.
From my understanding, they was in love, you know. It's just, I love him. He would be over, and he would make her smile and things like that. That's all that matters in a relationship when you know that your friend has gone through so much, and just to see her happy, that means a lot.
But Shayna's mom was not as hopeful about her daughter's reunion with Wilbur.
I talked to Wilbur and I said, if you're back in her life, she don't need no problems. He said, no, I ain't gonna give her no problems. I guess the problem was wait to come.
By most accounts, Wilbur wasn't a horrible guy, but he may not have been as upwardly mobile as Shayna. And he did get involved with selling drugs at one point. And Shayna's mom and friends thought that she could do better, that she deserved better.
But Shayna always seemed to gravitate back to Wilbur, her one true love.
Sometimes you hold on to your first loves. It's hard to let go. You come across other people, but you still have those feelings that you had in the beginning.
Homicide detectives have issued an order to obtain the security cam footage from outside of Wilbur's home. While they wait, they dig up all they can about Shayna's last hours, leading up to her untimely death. Buffalo police are investigating the murder of 30-year-old Shayna Mason after the mother of 3 was gunned down on Buffalo's east side on New Year's Day. They've asked her boyfriend, Wilbur Livingston, to come to the station for an interview. But once he arrives, he refuses to answer their questions. With no choice but to let Wilbur go, investigators turn their attention to the security cam footage, which they've just learned is ready for them to view.
I don't think anyone is prepared for what they're about to see.
As we viewed it, I was able to see a car pull up in front of the house. It was a white, newer model sedan, and a single African-American female exit the driver's side, walk toward the house, and down the driveway. She had what appeared to be a handgun in her right hand.
Now this woman is moving toward the front of the house, toward the front porch. And so now they have to switch the angle of the footage. That's pointing directly at the front porch.
When detectives do, they see another woman standing on the front porch of the home.
Based on the pictures that they've now seen, police officers know that this is Shayna Mason that's standing on the front porch. And a woman with a gun is coming up the front steps, pursuing her aggressively.
The body language of the woman on the porch and the one entering the stairwell, they appeared to be talking or yelling at each other. There was no audio, so I couldn't tell.
Police see Shayna pick up a shovel in her hand for protection.
Shayna was trying to get away from this woman, but it appeared that somehow that door was stuck or locked somehow.
And the woman that went up the stairs then lifted her arm up where the gun was visible and fired a shot.
Shayna is struck in the face.
A second shot came out rapidly and appeared to hit her in the back of the head.
Shayna immediately slumps to the ground.
She fell flat on her stomach, chest, and face, and the person who fired the shots continued moving forward and fired multiple more shots into the victim's back.
Even the most hardened veteran detectives were stunned by what they saw. It was brutal. It was just brutal. It was an execution. Shayna Mason didn't stand a chance.
Detectives see Wilbur, who has frantically opened the front door, now standing on the front porch. He is yelling at the shooter.
There's no audio, but he is screaming at her. It looks like he's saying, "What the F did you do? What the F did you do?"
The shooter runs down the porch steps, jumps in her car, and flees the scene, with the gun still in her hand.
After viewing the footage, there's no question that Wilbur was not the shooter. But who was this woman? Clearly, Wilbur knew this woman, and he knew that she shot Shayna. Why was he protecting her? Police are interested in re-engaging with Wilbur. It's obvious that he has the answers that they need.
Most importantly, detectives want to identify the woman in the security cam footage. The woman who killed Shayna.
This woman just committed cold-blooded murder on camera. And as far as they know, she's still armed and dangerous.
Buffalo homicide detectives have obtained and viewed security cam footage from outside the home where Shayna Mason was killed on the morning of January 1st, 2017. It reveals an African-American woman opening fire on Shayna and shooting her multiple times. The footage also captures Wilbur Livingston engage in a verbal confrontation with the woman before she flees the scene. When investigators reach out to Wilbur again, they explain they have seen the security cam footage. This time, he is willing to talk.
Wilbur confirms that he knows the woman who shot Shayna. And what's more, he knows why.
Wilbur tells investigators the woman they're looking for is Nadia Whitaker, and that she is his ex-girlfriend.
He says Nadia killed Shayna in a fit of jealous rage.
33-year-old Nadia Whitaker grew up in Buffalo, New York.
She was a single mom. She had a 14-year-old son.
Like Shayna, Nadia had dreams of being a nurse, and she worked as a licensed nurse practitioner. Also like Shayna, Nadia had known Wilbur Livingston since they were kids.
Nadia and Wilbur met in high school at the age of 14.
They were friends in high school, but after their junior year, several years went by before they would see each other again.
Nadia got pregnant in high school, so she had to take a break.
In 2007, Wilbur and Nadia ran into each other, and they exchanged numbers. Eventually, they started dating.
They got quite serious. They moved in together, and there were even talks of marriage.
For Nadia, there was no question Wilbur was the one for her. But Wilbur started having second thoughts about their relationship.
They were growing apart, they were constantly fighting, and Wilbur wanted out.
When Wilbur moved out and broke things off with Nadia, she was devastated.
Not long after that, Wilbur connected with Shayna, and they started dating. This further crushed Nadia, who was still heartbroken over losing Wilbur. Nadia refused to accept it, and obviously she would do anything to get him back.
Wilbur tells investigators that the night before Shayna was killed, he was hosting a birthday party for a childhood friend.
He said Shayna was invited to the party, and she even baked the cake.
According to Wilbur, one person who was not on the guest list was Nadia, but she showed up anyway.
Wilbur said Nadia came to the party looking for a fight, and that she confronted both of them. Friends at the party told Wilbur and Shayna that Nadia had went outside and keyed Shayna's car. So things were getting very heated, very fast.
Wanting to defuse the situation, Wilbur says he told Shayna they should leave the party.
Wilbur and Shayna left and went back to her place, where they stayed all night.
The next morning, Wilbur went home and Shayna reported for her shift at the nursing home. But when Wilbur entered the house, some of the party guests were still there, including Nadia.
He said he and Nadia got into it a little. He told her that she was out of line the night before and that he was in no mood for her.
Wilbur says after that, Nadia left. And shortly after, Shayna pulled up outside.
When Shayna got to work that morning, she realized that she left her cell phone at Wilbur's house, where she left it charging the night before. And that's why she was there, to quickly grab her phone and get back to work. Someone must have called Nadia and told her that Shayna was at the house, because within minutes, she was there.
Wilbur tells detectives things unfolded quickly over the next few seconds. He says once he realized Shayna and Nadia were arguing on the front porch, he tried to unlock the door to let Shayna inside.
The front door locked from both inside and outside, and you needed a key to unlock it from the inside, and he was struggling to get it open. By the time he got the door open, Nadia had shot Shayna several times, and Shayna was dead. Wilbur immediately got on the ground asking if she was okay, asking if, baby, are you okay? Talk to me, move your hand, please. But there was no movement from Shayna.
Wilbur says that's when Nadia, who was still standing on the porch, started yelling at him.
Nadia was angry. She said, oh, this is your baby. This is your baby, huh? In a very aggressive manner. And he started screaming at her. What the F did you do? What the F did you do? After that, he ran to call 911. He lost track of Nadia and where she was.
Investigators moved quickly to obtain an arrest warrant for Nadia Whitaker.
The district attorney reported out that Nadia Whitaker, based on our investigation and our joint follow-up, was indicted for murder. We would continue looking for her so that we could bring her in, interview her, and arrest her.
There's just one problem. They can't find her.
She's armed and she's dangerous and she seemingly disappeared in the thin air. They have no idea where she is.
Livingston has just told Buffalo homicide detectives that his ex-girlfriend, Nadia Whitaker, is the woman seen on security cam footage, pulling the trigger and shooting Shayna Mason in a fit of jealous rage. The Erie County District Attorney has issued a warrant for Nadia's arrest, but investigators can't find her anywhere.
We continued to try to locate her, using normal methods, trying to contact the family, her place of employment, calling her phone, with the intention of interviewing her and giving her a chance to explain what had happened and any mitigating factors that may have driven her to what she did.
As Nadia Whitaker is on the run, Shayna Mason's family and friends grieve her loss and worry justice for her senseless murder may never be served.
She was hiding out for quite some time, and anybody would be frustrated when you know exactly who did what, you know, to your child or to your loved one, and you know they're not being served.
Then, after several days, a call comes into the Buffalo Police Department.
I received a call from a defense attorney whom I knew, named Thomas Iwanu, who indicated he was representing Nadia Whitaker and that he had been told that I was looking to talk to her and he wanted to arrange for her surrender for a case. And I believe at that point he was aware that she had been indicted.
Detectives and Nadia's defense attorney arrange for a date and time for her to be brought to the station. And on January 8th, 2017, 8 days after Shayna Mason was murdered, Nadia Whitaker finally surfaced.
Tom came in and introduced me to Nadia Whitaker as his client. He said she's surrendering on the warrant that's been issued for her.
After detectives meet Nadia Whitaker, she's completely different than what they saw on the cameras.
She absolutely was meek. She was very reserved. She didn't really speak, but I guess one of the words could be overwhelmed. And she had the realization as to what she did, and that this was the culmination of that. I can't imagine what she went through in the days and hours after the shooting.
Detectives have anxiously been waiting for an opportunity to interview Nadia and hear her side of the story.
He asked me to not interview her or ask her any questions regarding the incident, and when they asked that their client not be questioned, I don't, and police don't, question the person when they're surrendered. He said, you can ask her preliminary questions such as her name, address, date of birth, but I was not to mention the case at all.
All the police officers were legally allowed to do at that point was fill out the arrest paperwork and take her to holding. That's it. It was a disappointing development for the detectives who had worked so hard on this case. But even without the confession, they had the footage and enough information to arrest her and charge her.
While the Erie County prosecutor prepares for trial, she says the videotape which shows Nadia gunning down Shayna will be central to the state's case.
But the defense says they're not disputing the video. Their strategy will be to explain why this happened rather than who did it.
There was no relevant criminal history. There was no history of violence or violent crime, such as a shooting, no past history of criminal possession of a weapon, and that she was, in fact, at least under some measure of emotional distress. One of the arguments made by the defense, Nadia Whitaker, was under extreme emotional disturbance at the time of the shooting.
At Nadia's pre-trial hearing, her defense attorney argues that her crime was a crime of passion and that it was triggered by her involvement in a volatile love triangle.
Her attorney then presents a smoking gun of sorts, a marriage license. The attorney says that the day before Nadia killed Shayna, that her and Wilbur obtained a marriage certificate. Nadia and Wilbur.
Nadia Whitaker has been arrested and charged in the brutal slaying of Shayna Mason. At her pre-trial hearing, Nadia's attorney argues his client acted under extreme emotional distress and proceeds to tell a very different version of Nadia and Wilbur's relationship from the one Wilbur told police.
He says that his client was trapped in a 10-year abusive relationship with Wilbur Livingston. Wilbur had cheated on her numerous times and flaunted it in front of her. And this latest dalliance with Shayna Mason was no different.
Her attorney says after years of psychological abuse, Nadia had become so beaten down, she was nearing a breaking point. But on December 30th, 2016, Wilbur promised her he was changing his ways.
He proposed to her, which apparently had not been the first time he had done so. This time, they actually got a marriage license. So Nadia had planned to announce their engagement at a party the next night on New Year's Eve, but Wilbur never picked her up for the party.
Distraught, Nadia went to the Gold Street house, hoping to talk to Wilbur. But when she saw him there with Shayna, she confronted them both.
After Wilbur and Shayna left the party, Nadia stayed there all night, waiting for Wilbur to come back, which he never did until the next morning. Her attorney said it was just too much for her. He said it was a horrible situation, compounded by the similarities between the two women. Both worked in healthcare, both came from hardworking, close-knit families, and both were preyed upon by the same manipulative man.
3 mental health experts who examined Nadia determined she was suffering from extreme emotional disturbance when she fired the gun.
This determination prompted the district attorney's office to not take this case to trial, and also to a manslaughter plea, rather than pursue the murder charge that Nadia originally faced. Instead of a possible 25 to life sentence, the maximum she could get was 25 years in prison.
For Shayna's friends and family, who attended all of the pretrial proceedings, this was another blow.
I don't think she ever snapped. She knew where to go get the gun, that's what I'm saying.
Didn't want to fist fight or anything like that. You went and straight to where you knew that the gun was, got it, and then came out and did what you did. What you did was take someone who was blocking you from being with him. You are going to be with him because I want to be with him. So what's the best way? So that doesn't seem like you were crazy. I feel like that's calculated.
At Nadia's sentencing hearing in December 2017, Shayna's mother read a victim impact statement to the court.
I told him she had 3 beautiful children that no longer can pull their mother's hair, talk to her, laugh with her, take trips with her, because this person took them from their mother. And to me, I don't know what, but all I'm just want is justice for my child so that someday she can rest in peace. And that's all.
Before handing down Nadia's sentence, the judge said this crime was all the more tragic because the 2 women involved were both mothers, both smart and hardworking, but that they had both made the same mistake.
He said that they both got involved with a selfish and deceitful man. Then speaking directly to Nadia, he said, I never wish this on anyone, and I don't condone violence, but you shot the wrong person.
Nadia was sentenced to 19 years in prison and 5 years of post-release supervision. After the proceedings, Nadia's attorney said she should be freed in about 15 years.
It wasn't without criticism. There was some pushback in the local news and the local media, perhaps that maybe the sentence potentially was too light. But if you're the judge and you have all of the evidence and factors available to you, I could see how a judge could come up with 19 years.
Shayna's friends and family were outraged over the sentence.
She could see her son anytime she wants. My kids could never see their mother again. They never get to laugh about when they used to be together, things they do.
I was angry. I think I was more angry than hurt. She had a bunch of family come there for her, Nadia, to support her. And when they gave her the sentence and everything, her family just broke down, went crazy, crying and screaming. And I just looked, shaking my head like, I know you're gonna be disappointed that your family's gone to jail for a long time, but you get her back. We don't get Shayna back.
Using a gun is unexplainable to me. That she felt so strong about what she might have felt was a violation of a trust between her and her fiancé, that she had to murder the other woman. It doesn't make sense to me, and it's not explainable.
Taking someone's life. No man is worth sitting behind bars for killing somebody. Obviously, if he's talking to both of you, so it's not her fault or your fault, it's his fault. Walk away. It's not worth killing somebody over. All of this is for what? For what? Who's with Wilbert now? Are you guys married now? You're sitting behind bars. You took somebody's life for a man that you're not even with.
Wilbur Livingston was not charged in connection with Shayna's murder, but he was later jailed on drug charges after being indicted in both Pennsylvania and Tennessee.